God, may the words that I speak and the meditations of all our hearts be pleasing to you, for you are our rock, our being, and our Redeemer. Amen. I was 9. Some of you know this story already, but I was 9, and we were driving from my grandparents in the Black Hills all the way to our new home in eastern Iowa. And on the way, we had to pass right by the exit from my other grandparents' farm. This was the place I felt like I knew best in the world. I knew me best when I was there. It was the place where my great-aunt Dorothy would take me in the summer, make me pick up the apples in her yard, and reward me with an actual glass bottle of Coke. It's the place where she would let me ride my grandfather's dog, King, like literally ride the dog. Who does that? I'd stare out her window at the haze of the sunlight through the 100-year-old panes of glass. It was where she'd take me fishing and try to teach me to scale the fish, and I would scream and run away every time. It was where every 4th of July the whole family would gather, Dorothy and Grandpa's siblings and all of my father's cousins and their kids, and we'd chase each other around the house for what seemed like hours until we dropped exhausted on the front lawn for fireworks as soon as it got dark, soaked with watermelon and sunscreen. It was where she'd set up this old, pathetic sprinkler. I'm sure it was the same one my dad had used, right? And it was clogged with age, but it was still working. And the water was warmed to just above icy by the heat of the Midwestern sun, and each drop was like a shocking kiss. I begged my parents to stop at the exit that day. We had just moved to Iowa City, and I was craving that feeling of home. I also just didn't want to spend 3 more hours in the car. I wanted to go to the old house where Dorothy would be waiting with heavily greased fried potatoes and ketchup, and she'd make me sprinkle toast in the morning. But we didn't stop. And the next morning, when I woke up having cried myself to sleep in the back of the car, when I woke up at home to this extremely beautiful sunny day and found out that she had died in a car crash that night, everything stopped. It just stopped. And I do believe my entire life pivoted, right? That was a hinge. And all of those moments before were suddenly shot with a meaning I could never have known they had, right? The fishing, the forced naps, all these various forms of slow living that actually drove me crazy because I can't sit still. That's what they felt like to me at the time, sleepy and warm. And that warmth was suddenly a blanket that I could never get back. I could never crawl back under. The apples and Coke were like communion. The sprinkler was a baptism into my own belovedness that I could only see in retrospect. That's how I still feel about those things. When my kids run through the sprinkler, I lament how strong and forceful that water is. Because I want them to feel each drop as the piece of freezing grace that it is. The piece of freezing grace that they will remember forever. I can feel it on my own skin when they run. It just peels off the years, and I'm back there with Dorothy, but I'm also in my yard at the same time. Time just collapses, or maybe it expands. I don't really know. All I know is that sprinkler feels like home in a way that almost hurts. Now, I have the extremely unique privilege of standing up here and being with families as they go through their own memories in that same way. We didn't have a lot. In fact, we had nothing. But she used to set up Olympics for us in the hallway of our apartment. Various obstacle courses we'd run through while she timed us. Oh, she made the best lasagna. It was famous, her lasagna, and her apple pie, and she would make them, and she never missed a beat when someone would stop by. Pull up a chair, honey. That was her catchphrase. Pull up a chair, honey. Oh, she was so creative and ready for anything. In her kindergarten room, she had a floor-length coat and a nightrobe, just in case. Our Saturday morning trips to the dump, with the windows down and the music on. I went on a business trip. I was young, and when I came back, it was snowing, and all the other cars were completely snowed in. But mine had been cleared and shoveled out. My dad had gotten there earlier just to make sure I got home safe. Grandpa made the most amazing blanket forts with us. He just couldn't say no. She loved to tell the same story growing up on a farm. Go bring in the cows. Dad wasn't the most emotionally available, but we used to sit outside on a blanket at night and map the stars together. That's what I remember, mapping the stars. Our daily life is shot through with meaning. The first time we see the ocean, watching the space shuttle launch, walking into a Gothic cathedral, hearing a choir sing, your first mountain summit, your child's first mountain summit, visiting the Grand Canyon, a concert outdoors at the Shelburne Museum, a regular cup of coffee with a partner every morning. Those first wailing cries of a baby and those last rattled breaths of a beloved, from beginning to end, and every single thing in between. Our life is almost too full of those moments. When properly appreciated, you step into the full meaning of you. When you step into the full meaning of all of this. Those moments when fully lived, you experience the full awe of creation, so powerful it threatens to overpower you. But sometimes I think they're so ubiquitous we don't see them at all. So go ahead, close your eyes for just a moment and play the montage in your mind. Don't look for particular moments, just notice what rises up. Butter and sugar toast, a swing, a particular lullaby, a set of screeching brakes. The 19th Psalm says the heavens pour out this meaning, not just once, not twice, but day after day after day. Without words and without fuss, they infuse our existence with something beyond ourselves. And yet we so rarely notice it. Meaning is not a question that can be answered once, but over and over and over. And each day there is a moment waiting for us, where in the words of the psalmist, the ordinances of God are clear and pure, and we know ourselves in them, and they taste sweeter than honey. As we secularize the world around us, and I don't mean religion necessarily, but the way we exist in the world. Buildings are boxes. Cars are silver. Aesthetics are neutral. The world is knowable. People are capital. The world is no longer full of magic as we secularize it. We have become, as the author Henry Weissmeyer says, refugees from the mundane, ever in search of an experience that will awaken our senses to something other than pain. We travel to be transported outside of our daily experiences, and we take drugs in search of that same transportation. Hallucination at its root actually just means to wander through one's own mind. We try to alter our perceptions, to strike our senses with something new for some escape. And if you think this isn't an issue, look outside. The world is hurting. because we fail to see the sacred in everyone and everything. We buy thing after thing after thing that we hope will make us well: vitamins, creams, organizers, bags, music, books, posters. Fantasy novels are huge right now as middle-aged adults crave the possibility of something new breaking forth, something. We are refugees in search of meaning from the system that barely acknowledges the deep injustices around us. Now, part of this, of course, is that we don't feel truly seen. We have been sliced down into little categories in an algorithm, given precisely the videos that a computer algorithm made by a statistically white man in his 20s or 30s thinks that we will want. We are just one of any million who like to look at wildlife interactions, 1 million who feel the same way about the political climate, sold the same experiences and the same goods through the same retailers. Life is routine and agonizing all at the same time, and meaning is elusive. But it's always there. And that voice that says, "You, I see you, you are my beloved," that voice, the one that cracked open the heavens and opened up the floodwaters to gently rest. "This is my beloved, with whom I am so well pleased." And every generation since, that is what Jesus left us with. After all his ministry at the end, this is what he shaped his people around. That defining moment for him became a defining moment for us. Go forth and be baptized in the name of the Father and the Son and the Spirit, which is to say, baptized in creation and the created and the Spirit in and around us all. So that every touch of water from that sprinkler might be a blessing, so that every cup of coffee might be sacred, so that every piece of broken bread might be a vessel for the indwelling of the Spirit. We cannot live constantly aware, friends. We would be paralyzed. We do have to distill our experiences, but we can't forget it's there. That sacred meaning is humming just below the surface of everything. We cannot let the cubicle of modern existence beat it out of us. In this place, we slip into pews, hewn 220 years ago. We slip into baptismal rivers poured out for 2,000 years. We break bread with a man born and dead and born again over 80 generations ago. There is still glitter in the pews from last Easter, and there is stone that's been chiseled 100 years ago. And you can reach out and simply touch it anytime you want and realize how profoundly alive all of it still is. You can begin to see how your Saturday morning routine is resplendent with meaning. The blanket fort is a type of love to wrap yourself in every single day when it gets hard. The sun, a sure marker as the psalmist rejoices that God was and is and ever shall be. Do not let the institutionalization and sterilization of modern experience rob you of the existential, friends. We cannot wait until we are on our deathbed to appreciate that which was formed and shaped throughout our existence. The world can't wait for it. The blanket under the stars, the sister by your side, the breath in your lungs, filling you with a rhythm as certain as the trees, saying you are part of this earth and you belong. Every day is shot through with meaning. And that river Jesus submerged himself in and rose out of, it's all around you. Every time we promise to love one another as Jesus loved us, every time we pass the peace, we are dipping our toe. So friends, let's gather at that river now. Let's sing it loud. Thanks be to God.